Part 1. Whispers Among the Stars, explained in 700 words. The story opens in the distant future. Within the most powerful and revered data hub in the galaxy, the Galactic Archive, central repository that stores the history, biology, technology, and evolution of every known sentient species. In this vast library of cosmic knowledge, an anomaly lies hidden. SELO. A young and curious alien archivist from the Varnith species works tirelessly cataloging planetary data. He's driven not just by duty, but by genuine fascination for history. In a moment of routine data mapping, he stumbles upon something strange, a blank space between two well-documented star systems coordinates, G2-171 and G172. For a library famed for its precision, such a void is suspicious. When Silo accesses the file, expecting it to be a minor clerical omission, he discovers something far more ominous. The system in question, labeled Soul, has a full archival lock. The metadata shows it was manually removed from the records and marked designated red, classification even above extinct hostile. The accompanying warning is short and chilling. Do not inquire. It alone would be enough to dissuade most archivists, but not Cello, intrigued and disturbed by the secrecy. He does what few would dare. He begins probing deeper. By breaching old, multi-layered encryption protocols, many of them centuries out of use, Cello uncovers fragmented logs, corrupted data strings, and traces of a civilization once vibrant and thriving humanity. His access reveals incomplete transmissions, maps of once thriving cities, and flashes of culture, art, and war. What shocks him is the rate of development. To just a few thousand cycles, the humans had advanced from early industrial technology to interstellar capability, a feat that took other species millennia. No extinction records are found. There's no cataclysmic war, no plague, no natural disaster. The humans didn't fall. They were erased. Cello's research reveals more disturbing truths. There are whispers buried deep within the network, digital ghosts of rogue archivists and scientists before him who had made similar discoveries. Their logs speak of fear, of pressure from the council, of sudden disappearances. One file ends mid-sentence, another is corrupted with static. A third contains just a single sentence. If you're reading this, they already know. The implications hit Cello hard. This isn't a case of forgotten history. It's a deliberate suppression. An entire species, removed not by time, but by design. That realization changes everything. Who were the humans, and what threat did they pose that required such a vast cover-up? If they were so dangerous, what would happen if they returned? The scene closes with Cello leaning back in his chair, shaken but resolved. He knows he's now part of something bigger, something forbidden. He whispers the name of the lost species, humans. And the lights in his archive dim slightly, as if reacting. In the next cycle, Cello disappears. His station is cleared, his logs wiped, but not before one last message appears across the archive's hidden relay system. A system once thought defunct. Humanity was erased, but their silence echoes louder than your lies. Thus, the seeds of mystery and rebellion are planted. The question of why the galaxy's most curious, volatile, and powerful species was hidden away begins to haunt those who uncover the first traces. The rest of the galaxy may have moved on, but the truth, buried deep in the code and history, is beginning to stir. Themes introduced in Part 1. Suppression of knowledge. The galactic authorities are not just negligent. They are complicit in deliberately hiding the truth. Curiosity and courage. Cello's actions echo the earliest human values, seeking truth, even in the face of danger. Human potential. Even in partial records, humanity's rapid growth and potential shine through. They are unique, and that uniqueness is feared. Foreshadowing, the mysterious disappearance of others before Silo hints at the power that doesn't want the past. Rediscovered and that might strike again. Part 2. The Council's lie, explained in 700 words as Part 2 begins. The focus shifts from the lone archivist Cello to the powerful institution that orchestrated humanity's disappearance, the Galactic Council. This body, composed of ancient, influential alien species, governs galactic law, manages diplomatic relations, and, as is now revealed, carefully controls historical narratives. A secret emergency meeting of the Council is convened in response to Cello's disappearance and the disturbing message he left behind. Humanity was erased, but their silence echoes louder than your lies. Cello's breach of the redacted files wasn't just an internal matter. It posed a threat to the foundational myths the Council had built the modern galaxy upon. His message had begun circulating through hidden networks, and though the Council moved quickly to contain it, the damage had been done. The mood in the chamber is one of anxiety and paranoia. These are not gods, they are bureaucrats and leaders who know they are losing control of a secret kept buried for millennia. Among them is Chancellor Vorax, a long-serving and politically calculating member of the Council. Vorax possesses the confidence of someone who knows the truth and has lived with it. He listens as his fellow counselors react with fear and outrage. Drevik, an insectoid diplomat, lashes out first, claiming that they all agreed to wipe out humanity for good reason. They were dangerous, uncontrollable, and unwilling to submit to galactic order. Another council member reminds the others that humanity's brief emergence had already destabilized entire sectors of space. Human scientists re-engineered tech in weeks that took other species centuries to understand. Their soldiers fought like they were born from chaos. Their culture, chaotic as it was, spread rapidly, influencing planets far beyond Earth's reach. And yet, they were not destroyed in war. Instead, the Council had used a more insidious tactic. They erased humanity's existence entirely, using cloaking satellites, information blackouts, and forged extinction events. They made Earth invisible to the rest of the galaxy. Entire records were purged. Researchers who discovered the truth were silenced or discredited. The name human became a whisper, at best a myth, at worst. Chancellor Vorax reminds them of why this decision was made. He recalls the first and only time humans were offered a seat at the galactic table. It had ended in chaos. The humans had challenged the oldest laws, refused to accept species ranking systems, and questioned the morality of the Council's rule. They had no patience for ancient tradition. It disrupted everything. What frightened the Council most, though, wasn't humanity's rebellion. It was their influence. Other species, especially the oppressed, the weak, the forgotten, gravitated toward humans, inspired by their defiance and innovation. The humans had begun forging alliances, empowering those long silenced by the Council's rigid order. In them, the Council saw not just resistance, but revolution, and so they acted preemptively. Earth was labeled unviable. Officially, it was categorized as a system that collapsed from self-destruction, buried under war and environmental collapse. Unofficially, a quiet shadow campaign erased them. Satellites were placed around Sol to block detection and redirect exploration ships. Terraforming projects and colony expansions were carefully rerouted. Over time, humanity simply disappeared from galactic consciousness. But now, that erasure is unraveling. Vorax reveals something the others don't yet know. There have been anomalous signals near the Sol system. Quiet pings in the dark, encrypted messages bouncing from old Terran relays. Something or someone has broken through the blockade. Humanity is stirring, he says grimly. And if they rise again, the galaxy may never be the same. Statement casts a shadow over the chamber. For all their power, for all their unity, the Council members feel something ancient and primal. Fear. The kind of fear that only comes from knowing you tried to bury a threat only to realize you failed. Themes explored in Part 2. Institutional deception. This part reveals how powerful organizations rewrite history to preserve their own power. The Council didn't act out of justice, they acted out of fear and a desire for control. Fear of change. Humanity's rise represented a force of disruptive change. Their adaptability, creativity, and refusal to conform made them incompatible with the stagnant systems the Council thrived on. Foreshadowing a return, signals from the Sol system suggest that something is awakening. This builds tension. Humanity has not only survived, but is preparing to step back into the stars. Narrative shift. While Part 1 focused on the mystery and curiosity of discovery, Part 2 delves into the politics and power struggles behind that mystery. We now understand that humanity's disappearance was not an accident or tragedy, but a strategic suppression by galactic elites. Part 3. The reawakening explained in 700 words. Part 3 marks the turning point of the entire story. While the previous two parts focused on uncovering the past and exposing the lies, this chapter brings us to the moment the galaxy begins to feel the consequences of what it buried. Humanity isn't just a mystery anymore, they're waking up. We begin aboard the Terran sleeper ship Aegis Dawn, a long-range interstellar vessel launched generations ago from Earth. It was designed as a lifeboat, a probe, and a message in a bottle all in one. The mission of Aegis Dawn was simple: find the truth, survive, return. It was humanity's answer to the silence they were forced into. After centuries of floating through interstellar space hidden by cloaking tech, dormant AI, and a skeleton, crew and cryo-sleep, the ship has finally breached the edge of Council-controlled space. The moment it crosses the boundary, alarms begin to hum. Not of danger, but of awakening. Captain Marlin, the ship's current commanding officer, is revived by the medical AI along with the rest of her team. She's a descendant of the original crew trained from childhood in simulations of what this day would look like. Her first thoughts are confusion and awe. The stars outside her window aren't distorted anymore. The signal dampeners have failed, or they've been bypassed. Either way, they're finally through. The ship's AI, Ava, autonomous virtual archivist, spent centuries collecting and decoding data in secrets, sniffing out buried signals, decrypting lost transmissions, and analyzing fragments of corrupted history. As the crew awakens and regains full control of the ship, Ava begins feeding them the truth that the Earth never had access to. What they discover is staggering. The Council fabricated Earth's collapse, using falsified images and broadcasted lies to spread the idea of human extinction. Orbital satellites were placed around Sol to scramble light and data, making Earth appear as a dead system from the outside. Trade routes were rerouted, exploration vessels redirected, and even maps altered to avoid Terran space. The humans on board are silent as the truth washes over them. Their people were not destroyed by a natural disaster, or war, or even ignorance. They were deliberately cut off. By design, to make them irrelevant, Captain Mara reflects on the pain this reveals. Every unanswered message from Earth, every lost outpost, every colony that never received supplies, they weren't accidents. They were engineered betrayals. But humanity didn't die. While Earth had indeed suffered, its spirit endured. Underground bunkers, rogue colonies, encrypted memory vaults, there were people who suspected the truth and acted. The launch of Aegis Dawn had been their final hope, their last whisper into the universe. And now that whisper had returned stronger. Humanity's strength, Mara realizes, was never just in its weapons or technology. It was in its resilience, its memory, and its unwillingness to die quietly now. For the first time in centuries, the ship opens its comm systems. A message is broadcast in every known galactic language. Terra remembers. The words ripple through space like a thunderclap. Council sensors register the signal. Border outposts forward it in confusion. Pirate bands, neutral colonies, and forgotten worlds all hear at hand. They remember. Some thought Earth was just a myth. Others suspected the truth but were too afraid to speak. All of them know. Meanwhile, Ava reports something else. They are not alone. Other ancient Terran sleeper ships may still be out there. Other A is they're survivors. Like sparks buried in ash, waiting for air, the crew of Aegis Dawn votes unanimously. They will not return to Earth. Not yet. First, they will trace the network of lies, reconnect with scattered Terran outposts, and expose the truth in its full form. They will be the torchbearers of humanity's resurgence. Mara stands on the bridge, looking out at the stars with new purpose. Her mission is no longer survival, it's reclamation. Themes explored in Part 3, Persistence of Humanity. Despite Being silenced and scattered, humanity endured through careful planning and sheer will. Truth as a weapon. The Council's greatest fear wasn't Terran Gunzit, was Terran memory. And now that memory is being weaponized. Rebirth. The title, The Reawakening, refers not only to the sleeper ship's crew, but to the rebirth of human presence in the galactic stage. Legacy. Mara and her crew carry not only knowledge but responsibility. They are the bridge between a lost past and a future that demands answers. Part 4. Revelation through fire explained in 700 words. Part 4 marks the shift from strategic truth-telling to open confrontation. The return of humanity is no longer just a historical curiosity or political fear. It becomes an undeniable reality. The moment their presence collides with the armed might of the Galactic Council, what begins as a surveillance operation quickly escalates into a full-blown revelation. Delivered not just through words, but through fire. The sleeper ship Aegis Dawn. Having sent its transmission, Terra remembers across Council space, is met with a swift and aggressive response. The Council's high command, in a panic, dispatches a containment fleet. The official order isn't to destroy the human vessel immediately, but to intercept, assess, and control. The Council still wants to avoid public scandal, but deep down, they believe it will be an easy show of dominance. They couldn't be more wrong. While Aegis Dawn is not a warship, it is the product of Terran desperation, innovation, and paranoia. Designed to escape a galactic quarantine, it was built for endurance, deception, and survivability. Its systems are primitive by modern standards, yet also terrifyingly flexible. Ava, the ship's AI, is an autonomous strategist capable of rewriting battle protocols on the fly. Its crew is small, but each member was trained from childhood in war simulations, diplomacy, and survival tactics. Captain Mara Lynn prepares her crew for the inevitable. She knows what the Council wants. Silence, not diplomacy, not pice obedience. And if they don't get it, they will destroy her and then pretend it never happened. She refuses to let humanity's second chance be snuffed out like the first. When the Council fleet arrives, led by the dreadnought Valen and 4 escort cruisers, they begin hailing the human vessel with demands. Power down systems. Surrender. For questioning and cease all transmissions. Mara responds calmly and truthfully. We were erased, not defeated. We will not obey your silence. Then she cuts the comms. What follows is a battle both tactical and symbolic. The Aegis Dawn cannot outgun the fleet, but it doesn't need to. With Ava directing evasive maneuvers and manipulating radiation pockets and asteroid debris, the ship moves unpredictably like a serpent through smoke. Its weapons are few but adaptable, scavenged from reverse-engineered Council tech, the humans. Studied in secret for centuries, each move is a message. You tried to bury us. Look what we learned anyway, within minutes. 2 of the escort cruisers are crippled, not destroyed, but left spinning with communications and power disabled. Mara is careful. She knows the real war is not just of plasma bolts and shielding it. His perception. Humanity must show strength, but not barbarism. The Council dreadnought Valen, humiliated, prepares to unleash a barrage intended to vaporize the Aegis Dawn. That's when Mara plays her final card. Your second signal is broadcast encrypted. Logs compiled by Ava and released across galactic civilian channels. These are the truth files. Historical records, intercepted messages, proof of Earth's erasure. They include classified Council deliberations, first-hand survivor accounts, and records of orbital dampening devices around Sol. The Council's great lie is exposed, not in secret, but live. Civilizations across the stars receive the transmission. Some species are stunned, others outraged. But among the oppressed, the forgotten, and the fringe colonies, there is cheering. The Terran myth was true. The humans were real. They were not only alive, they were fighting back. The Council fleet halts. For the first time in 1,000 years, the fear shifts direction. Council, so used to controlling history, realizes their grip is slipping. The past is no longer a weapon for them to wield. It's becoming a sword in human hands. The Valen doesn't fire. Instead, retreats with the remains of the crippled fleet, retreating not just from battle, but from a war it now knows cannot be won through force alone. Themes explored in Part 4. Power of Truth. The most important weapon in this part isn't a railgun or missile, it's the release of information. Humanity exposes the lie that sustained a galactic empire. Human ingenuity versus technological superiority. The Aegis Dawn is old, underarmed, and outnumbered. Yet through adaptability and AI tactics, it turns the tide. This reinforces the HFY theme that humanity's strength lies not in what they have, but in how they use it. Symbolism over destruction. Mara chooses to disable rather than annihilate. She knows this isn't about killing, it's about showing the galaxy what humans stand for. Reversal of fear. The Council begins this part confident. At the end, they are the ones afraid because the thing they feared most is happening. The truth is loose. Part 5. Terrorizing explained in 700 words. Part 5 serves as the resolution and triumph of the story. It answers the key question posed throughout the series. What happens when humanity, long erased, reclaims its voice? This chapter brings the galactic narrative full circle, from silent extinction to defiant resurgence, the events of Part 4, where Aegis Dawn defeats the Council fleet and broadcasts the truths, spark an unstoppable chain reaction across the galaxy. The truth cannot be contained. Systems once tightly under Council control begin to fracture under scrutiny. Civilizations who had long suspected something hidden now have proof. Others who were told Earth was a myth learn they had been lied to for generations. And in that wave of uncertainty, humanity reappears, not as ghosts, but as a people reborn, back on Earth. The cloaking satellites that once hid the planet from the galaxy are now offline or destroyed. The stars once masked and silent now shine again over the blue planet. The planetary network roars to life. Terran encryption protocols are lifted. For the first time in 1,000 years, Earth speaks to the stars and the stars answer. Hidden. Facilities buried deep within Earth's crust, and on Luna, come online. They were built in secret during the final days before the Council's silence, meant to be activated if contact was ever re-established. Now, they serve as the foundation. For a reborn Terran Republic, even more shocking, sleeper ships like Aegis Dawn weren't the only ones to survive. Other hidden colonies, long believed to be cut off or lost, begin responding. Some had escaped Council interference by hiding behind pulsars or living on rogue planets. Others used Council tech against its creators, hacking into systems and masking their coordinates for centuries. One by one, these lost outposts begin reconnecting. Humanity had not just endured, had adapted. Its survival wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate, distributed resistance born from the belief that one day, Earth would rise again. At the heart of this movement is Captain Mara Lin, now seen as both a hero and a symbol. Her decision to share the truth, rather than retaliate with force, has earned her respect, not only among humans, but across other species now questioning the Council's legitimacy. Council High Command is in chaos. With its greatest secret exposed, several member races begin calling for reform, investigation, and even secession. The Council had governed on the idea of unity and peace, but it is now clear that it maintained order by controlling history itself. Desperate to save face, the Council offers humanity apologies, reparations, and even a seat in the High Conclave, a very gesture they denied them centuries ago. But humanity is no longer desperate for inclusion. They see through the gesture. They understand that power offered from fear is not Pasit's control in disguise. Captain Mara responds on behalf of Earth in an infamous broadcast. We are not here to take your seat. We're building our own table. Remember who erased. Yusintu watched in silence. There will be no return to the old order. Her message is heard across the galaxy. It marks the official formation of the Terran Republican independent galactic entity open to alliance, but not assimilation. A government founded on transparency, memory, and resistance to empire. A new power block has entered the Starzand. It carries the lessons of 1,000 years of forced silence. Humanity begins offering asylum to species oppressed by the Council. Many come willingly, seeking the freedom that Earth now represents. In time, the Terran Republic becomes a nexus for innovation, diplomacy, and cultural exchange, not through conquest, but through resilience. On Earth, a monument is constructed. In Unity Square Plaza, built atop the ruins of the last global war, at its center stands a statue of a child holding a cracked globe, staring up at the stars with defiance in her eyes. Beneath her feet are the words they tried to erase. Us. But we were never a line in their history. We were the fire between the pages. Themes explored in Part 5: Legacy and Rebirth. Humanity has reclaimed its place not by returning to what was, but by rising as something stronger, more united, and more self-aware. Justice, not revenge. Mara's leadership reflects a deeper human strength, the ability to seek justice and truth, not merely vengeance. The goal isn't destruction, it's redefinition. Shifting galactic power, the Council's era is ending. A new multipolar galaxy is forming, with Earth as one of its central forces, because of dominance, but because of earned respect. Symbolism of memory. The monument on Earth captures the emotional heart of the story. Humanity was erased by design. But memory is rebellion, and remembrance is a weapon no empire can truly suppress.